Hello, I'm the head of English, and students in our subjects continue their development from GCSEs, learning both about language at A-level and literature. They're two separate A-levels. Within language, things are very different. At GCSE, I think you'll find that the questions are relatively fixed and students are used to answering questions in a certain way, and they have a limited number of texts, both fiction and non-fiction, to study. But when it comes to language A-level, they really show a much wider engagement with culture and history. So language A-level takes us right back to the 14th century, and we have an historical study involved in that. They also look at language development from childhood upwards, and we also see the influence of culture, of race, of gender, even of age of speakers. So it's a very wide-ranging course. Language is an excellent university course as well, and students really enjoy it. In terms of literature, the literature A-level is something that if you enjoy reading literature, then it's the perfect A-level for you. We'll find that students could be reading Chaucer, although not always. They don't always go back to the 14th century, but they'll certainly be reading Shakespeare. They'll be looking at novelists and poets and dramatists from the 17th and 18th centuries. And at the moment, we're studying novels like Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. There are also more recent novels to study, things like Khaled Hosseini's Thousand Splendid Suns, and really there's great variety at A-level. I suppose A-level is what many English teachers enjoy most, although I think it's pleasant to teach from year 7 onwards. I think that the variety, which is something that I've already mentioned, the variety is excellent, and there's a real sense of challenge for the students. So one of the things I most enjoy doing is teaching texts that I love, texts that I know well, and seeing those texts open up for new generations of readers. These texts are challenging, sometimes they're very contemporary, and they might be dealing with hard-hitting issues from the world today. At the same time, we might be looking at Victorian society or earlier. So there's a real sense of variety in what you study. A-level English language is taught in a slightly different way to literature. There is a good deal of group work that's done. There will be presentations, there will be research required for homework, and it's a very active talking kind of a subject. I would say there is a real emphasis on students needing to be responsible for their learning. The literature course is very different in the sense that it's not so front-loaded, and it's more to do with the time you take and the depth you're able to get to in terms of studying those texts. We use tutorial format at times. We also have student presentations. Obviously, there will be regular essays written and PowerPoint presentations. There'll also be student trips to places of interest. Our subject is assessed, as with most A-levels, on a fairly regular basis. There are school assessments that are fixed, and at the same time, every A-level teacher will be setting essays on a 1 or 2 weekly basis, and those will be marked pretty quickly and returned to students, so they have a strong sense of what progress they're making. The sort of assessment that we make in both A-levels is a lot to do with regular assessment, and that goes beyond any official assessments. There'll also be coursework in both language and literature. We find students really enjoy the coursework that they do. That's in year 13. From a literature point of view, that gives them the opportunity to read according to their own choices. There could be novels that have come out very recently. With language coursework, they choose their own topic of interest. They have an investigation to carry out. At the same time, they have a more creative engagement. They look at a literary text model of some sort, could be non-fiction, could be something from the newspapers. They write their own version of it, responding to the text, and then they explain from a linguistic point of view variations between them. So that sort of coursework assessment is very engaging and something that students always enjoy, I would say. Students who study literature or language, and sometimes both, very often, unsurprisingly, go on to study one of those courses at university, but not always. I think that both of these A-levels are very good mixers. They're the sorts of A-levels that engage very well and fit into modern foreign languages, or history, or philosophy, sociology, any of those essay writing subjects. Geography is also a good one for them to fit into. Students who have studied English will very often go on to study similar kinds of degree courses, but they might also take it into things like creative writing. They might be going into the media, they might go into a journalist's course. They might also end up doing things like going to drama school first time round without university, and a number of other avenues. If you have any questions about either English language or literature, please don't hesitate to contact the school. Thank you.